Hello, my most amazing artists. Welcome back to the studio. I'm a bit excited this morning. It's morning for me. I don't know what it is for you, but I'm excited anyway. Today we're going to draw and paint the toucan. You can paint a toucan. It's pretty cool. I'm going to tell you what you need to go and get. So first up, I'm going to paint it today with acrylic paints again. There we go. I'm going to paint with acrylic paint. So I've got my acrylic paints ready to go. The only colours that you will probably need are black, orange, yellow, red, white, brown, and then you can pick your own background colour. Usually I'd say, yes, you can totally paint your artwork whatever you like, but because we're painting a toucan today, he needs to be toucan colours, and these are the toucan colours. But go for it with the background. Be really creative with your background in what you want to pick and use. So I've got my acrylics ready. If you don't have acrylics or you're not allowed to paint, that's okay. You can still use watercolours. This is a really groovy watercolour palette that we use all the time. You will need paintbrushes. I've got 3, a pot of water. I've got my palette handy, just in case I need to mix any colours. You need a lead pencil, and you can have a rubber if you want to. You need some paper. I'm remembering. I'm getting better, I think. I'm getting better at remembering what you need. You need some paper. My paper is a big A3 piece of paper. It's a little bit thicker than normal copy paper. But if you've got copy paper, use copy paper, that's okay. And if it's A4, that's okay as well. If you don't have watercolours or paints or you're not allowed to use them, you can totally use your textures. Use the textures. Any textures you have at home, not permanent ones, this will work for. If you colour in a snap lock bag, and then you add a little water to the colour, that will turn it into watercolour paint. Or you might like just to colour in with pencil today. However you would like to colour your artwork, or you're allowed to colour your artwork, is totally cool. Right, let's go. We're going to draw some shapes, just like magic. This toucan will appear right here next to us. So let's go. Our first shape, and our toucan takes up most of the page. I've got to remember to leave some space down this side to put his beak in. And I'm going to leave some space down here to put his tail. So keeping that in my mind, I'm going to draw a pear shape. So I'm going to start roughly here and draw a pear shape. It's a bit wonky, but that's okay. It's totally okay. I'm all right with it. If you do a wonky one and you're not happy with it, I forgot to hit pause. Oh, I was doing so well. Pause. Go grab your stuff. You probably already have by now. Oh well. You will have. Let's do that. Pause. Unpause. You have your things. We're going to start drawing. If you don't really like your pear shape, is what I was going to say before I remembered that I forgot. Rub it out and do it again. I'm going to stay with mine, because if I went out into the wild where all the toucans live, they would not look identical. So yours won't look exactly the same as mine, and that is what I love so much. All right. So our next shape is, we're going to pop that great big toucan eye in. Mine kind of looks a bit like a minion at the moment. That's okay. If I go too fast, remember you need to pause me. Another littler, that's not even a word, a smaller circle inside the bigger circle. Then I'm going to come down and I'm going to put this branch across here. So it's just a wobbly line really, with a fork at the end of it, kind of like a fork, what we would call a fork. Or it kind of looks like a snake, huh? Looks like a snake with its mouth open. Then I'm going to pop the tail in. So the tail, I'm going to come down. So watch first. I need to keep it in line with the toucan's body, because if we were looking on the other side, you'd be able to see the back of him. So I'm going to come down and then up and join it back up. It's kind of like at the beginning of an upside down heart down here. Can you see that? Then I'm going to come up and I'm going to put the beak in. Now, toucan's beak is a beautiful big beak. So I have left a lot of space here. So I'm going to hook it over and come down to a point and then come back up. And it's quite thick up here, but it's really quite thin down here. Then underneath his beak, so he could talk to us, we need another section of the beak. So that will just come and meet the tip. Beautiful job, we're nearly there. We need to put his tummy in. So it's a nice big white tummy. And I'm going to separate these coloured lines. So I'm going to put a line down here for black, red, and then the line that will separate the yellow and the orange. Just so I know where I'm going to paint. Now in art class, I'm just thinking in my head before I did that. Can you see, I don't know that you can see here, I'm going to bring it close to you. Can you see his feet? It's very bright in the studio today. I probably, if we were in art class, I'd probably say that's all the drawing we're going to do before we paint. Because what can I do here at the end? I think I'm going to, that's right. We wouldn't draw those bits in because when we paint, we just paint over them. So we're going to leave that till the end. Same with the little white dot in his pupil. We don't need to put that in just yet. But we do need your piece of paper. So that's our practice draw done. Pretty cool, huh? Simple, easy. Shapes and toucan appears. Really, really cool. You guys are doing an awesome job. Okay. Big truck just going past. I'm going to draw with a black pencil, like I always do, so you can see it. You guys can draw with a lead pencil. So now I need to think in my mind, was I happy with the amount of space I left here? And I was. Was I happy with this space? Yes, I was. So I don't need to really make any adjustments, but I can go ahead and draw that pear shape. Remember not to go too far down the bottom. He's a bit littler, I think. That's okay. I'm okay with that. Can you see that? I might just do it a little bit darker so you guys can see it. Oh, it's trying to fly already. I hasn't even got his wings. Beautiful. I'm going to put the eye in. One circle. And then we want another smaller circle inside. Now, they don't have to be perfect circles. If you like to do perfect circles, grab a cup, maybe a glue stick, and draw around it. I'm okay with that. It's your artwork, that's okay. All right, next line, we're going to put our branch in. So I'm going to start this side, and I'm going to come across it, just skims along the bottom of his body. And I'm making it interesting, so it looks like that snake now. Go back to the other side. Tail time. So remember we came down about even the same. So if I use my magic marker to put a line, my finger, it's in, and then I'm bringing a line down, I'm doing that love heart, upside down love heart shape, or it's even like a back the front three, and then bring it up to meet. beautiful. All right, beak time. So remember we started up high and then we came down big, 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 big beak to a point and then come back up and it's wide. This is really wide. Yeah, that's a groovy beak. And then so hig and dog, we're joining it up with a little underneath. I need to separate my colors. So I'm gonna go black, red, yellow, orange. Tummy. And we're good. Remember I said we weren't going to put these in till last. So we can do those right at the end. Pencils down. You can grab your paints now if you want to paint, or however you're going to choose to colour in. That's what we're going to do. I'm actually going to, because I don't want to have to keep changing my water, what would happen if I painted this black body in first? You are right. The water would go yucky and it's going to make all of our other colours yucky. So I'm going to do the background and then I'm going to do the beak and then I'll tend to do the body. So my background today, you can pick whatever colour of your background you like. I'm just looking at my paint palette, what I've got in there. And I think I'm going to mix. So using a clean brush, I'm going to grab some white and plop that on my paint palette. And then using another clean brush, because I don't like the colours when they mix, in my ice cube tray. Keeps them nice and fresh if they stay in their block colours. I'm going to get some of this really pretty turquoise colour. And you can see I'm getting a blob. I'm blobbing it on. Can you see that? Yeah, there's a big blob of that there. Because I've got a fair bit of background to colour in. I want a big blob. So then I can get a little bit of white and bring it to there to make a new colour. I'm going to change brushes and use my medium brush. My big brush has got lots of paint on it. So my medium brush is going to be its friend. Remember our paintbrush friends before? I was like, hi, how are you? Yeah, I'm good. You've got lots of paint. Can I borrow some paint off you? So I'm just going to borrow some paint. I know. And I'm actually popping some of that paint back on the palette so I can put this brush into the water so I don't waste any. I really, really don't like wasting any paint. So I'm going to pop a line all the way around my toucan. Really, really, really carefully. Really carefully. All the way around the toucan, come into the branch. That's it. Then it makes it really easy to block this colour in there. You can do your background however you like. You could do it sunset, sunrise, rainbow. You could put it in the jungle. You could do lots of leaves in your background. Up to you. I kind of like this. I find this colour really pretty. So I'm going to go in with my line here, lock it in, or line around my toucan first. If I've gone too fast, you guys know that you can pause me, right? You know that you can press pause, catch up, and then we can go again. Locking all here. and I'm spreading the paint out. Remember, I've spoken about that before. If you've watched anything before, if you're painting with acrylics, make sure you don't have any gloopy bits, or we want it nice and smooth on your paper, because it will dry fast, or faster than if it's really thick. I can block in down here while so we're nearly there with our background colour. I forgot my music, so it's really quiet in here today, which is okay. I'm going to need some more white because I've used it all, so I'm just going to grab some more white. Drag a little bit of white over to that pretty aqua colour. Just do a little test to make sure I've got the same colour, and I'm going to come up here and come down that beak. Right to the edge. Now if you're painting at home, if you're going to paint right to the edge, you might need to have a mess mat or some newspaper down so you don't get it everywhere. Cool. Background done. So really, really carefully, I'm going to keep painting. I'm going to, because I can see it's wet. So if I'm super duper careful, I'm going to keep painting. If you are worried that your hand might go through your background, you can totally take a little break and let it dry. That's okay. So I'm going to start with the orange, and then I'm going to do yellow, and then I'm going to do red, and then I'm going to do yellow here. So if I find my ice cube tray, I said I'd start with orange, didn't I? And I did in the yellow. Try again. Start with orange. And my colours that I've got are really bright, block, bold colours. And I'm quite happy with those, just to use them straight up. I don't need to mix them. If you'd like to mix yours, so they're a little bit different shades of orange or yellow, that's totally okay, you can do that. And you can choose which brush you use. I'm still using my medium one because I'm being really careful to get into those corners. But if you're finding it tricky, use a smaller brush. That's okay. So I'm going to do the yellow down here. Really careful. Take your time. Really careful. And then this yellow, I'm going to do this yellow too. I've turned my brush on its side so it's using its skinny edge. But you could totally swap to your little brush if you need to. Then I can see I need to do the red next. My red looks like it's drying out. Let's have a look. I'm going to add a tiny bit of water to my red, because I can tell it's a little bit dried out. Sort of adding a little bit of water makes it work again. And I'm actually going to switch and use my little brush now. more water. I don't want to add too much water because it will make the acrylic see-through, or it'll make it not quite as bright as the other colours. And I can see gloopy bits in there, so I'm trying to spread them out. Need some more paint. That's it. Then I'm going to come down and I'm going to do the branch. I thought I had brown in my palette. Let me just check. Yes. So I'm going to paint that branch in brown. I'm actually going to use this small brush. And it's really quite dark, that brown. So I'm going to just grab a little bit of white with a clean brush and blend it while it's on there. Can you see that? That's cool, huh? So the brown isn't very even now. It's all different shades of brown because I've blended a little bit of white with the brown that was on there. And I'm just going to dip in the water because then that will drag that colour across. So it's quite thick on there. Right up to the point of the branch. You could put a leaf on the branch if you wanted to put a leaf on the branch. That's okay. Oh, there. So I've just dipped back in the brown, and because there's still a little bit of paint on the paper, it'll blend in. That's better. That's a bit lighter. It's looking pretty cool. I think yours would be looking just as cool as well. Okay. I'm going to do the tip. We're going to start to do that black bit of our toucan. So firstly, I'm going to do the tip of the beak first. So I'm using the little brush with a point. Can you guys see that? It's got a point on the end. Makes it easier. And I'm just going to come across and fill that in. Make sure I haven't got any white spaces, make sure I haven't got any gloopy bits there, all the way to the point. And then I'm going to use my medium brush to fill in the body here. So I'm going to start at the top and come around. Really, really carefully, take your time. Actually so relaxing to paint. I find it really relaxing to paint. I'm thinking because you're painting with me, you might be feeling really relaxed painting as well. Down, I'm going around that belly because remember that belly's white. Now as I get down here, I might need to change brushes back to my little brush. I'm actually going to leave that there, and I'm going to come down here and do this bit first, and then come back to that and use my little brush, because I want to be really, really precise. So I want to be really careful with putting the paint right down on those edges. Make sure you spread it out, remember? I can see it's drying, and it's pretty warm here in the studio today. And I can see that lots of it is already drying, which means I won't have to dry it for very long. Change the brushes to my small brush so I can come back and paint that. Those little bits in, down the bottom of the belly. Make sure you still spread it though. How's that? Pretty good. So I'm going to come up and I'm going to paint this iron with the black a little bit. And I'm just thinking what would be easier for you. And if you're white, if this white is really, really still quite white, so if you haven't got any paint inside there or any lines that you could see, I'm actually going to say that you could leave that just like that now. You could leave that white just like that. I think I've got a little, tiny little line. I'm just going to see if that'll rub out. It does. So I'm going to leave mine today too. If you want to, you can paint this bit in white and in here white. I'm going to say that you'll have to be really, really careful unless you let it dry, let it completely dry, and you come back to do your white bits. But mine has stayed really white. So I'm actually going to leave it like that. We need to do the pupil though. So I'm taking my pointy brush, but I'm going to use the upside down end, so the opposite end, and I'm just going to dip it in the white paint. I'm going to show you. And then if I come in, I'm really careful because I can see some of the black's wet. I can just dot that pupil in. Then I want you to let it dry because we need to outline some of, I'm going to outline the beak. Oh, we haven't done the feet either. So I'm going to give mine a quick dry. Lots of it is already dry, but I'm going to give it a quick dry. This is, if you're letting yours dry, you could have a little break. You might like to go and get a drink. You could have a piece of fruit, have a cookie. Cookies are really good for me. I like to eat cookies while I'm in dark. I can see some shiny bits, so that's why I'm holding the paper up, so I can tell where it's still wet. Mostly just where we've just painted that black. And it's pretty dry down there. So I'm going to go ahead and switch the dryer off. And using your lead pencil, I'm going to put, there's 6 in total, but 3 on each side. I will shape, so I'm making sure I'm not going to put my hand in anywhere that's wet. And I'm going to go, so it touches the top of the trunk the branch and the bottom of the branch. So 3 there. And if I come over here, 1, 2, 3. And I don't think you can see that, so I'm going to bring it close so you can. Can you see that? Yeah. And I'm going to mix a little bit of grey on my palette. So I wonder who knows what colours make grey. Because I didn't actually tell you to go and get grey today. So what colours do you think might make grey? If we were in the studio, I know lots of my amazing artists would put their hand up and they would go, Kristie, it's black and white. So we're going to mix a little bit of black, a little bit of white, and then fill in those ovally shapes. And then I'm going to dry it again, because I can dry this really quickly. That bit there. Give it a dry. So we're going to outline. We don't need to outline everything. Why don't you think we need to outline everything? That's right, because you won't see the black around the outside of the toucan if we outline it. So we pretty much only need to outline the beak and the branch and the claws. So you can either use a Posca paint pen. If you don't have a Posca paint pen, that's okay. You can use a Sharpie or a permanent marker, or you can use a texter. You must make sure your artwork is really dry, because none of those things are friends with wet paint. There, that's dry. So I'm going to grab a Posca paint pen. So I've got a black one there. You could use a Sharpie or a permanent marker. You could even use your texter. Might be a little bit light. Try it though. Have a go. Have a go and see. So I'm going to make sure my Posca is working. Yep. And I'm going to run a line down around my toucan's beak. You can totally outline the whole lot if you want to. It's just we don't need to. And I'm going to put a line there. Posca dries pretty quick, but I've still got to be careful not to smudge it. Cool. And then I'm going to do the claws. So I need just to draw them back in with my Posca paint pen. And the branch. And I think we're good. Hang on, somebody remembered. That's right. We can call it done, him done but not finished. Why? That's right, because when you do my art class, you have to sign your artwork. And when you do my art class, you can sign it wherever you like. I do not mind. When I say you have to sign it, it means that you have to write your name, because it is your artwork and you are an artist. So I'm going to write mine down here just underneath the branch, and I always draw a love heart and then I write Kristie. You can totally use your initials, you could write your full name, you could write it in the beak, you can write it wherever you like. I'm going to bring mine close so you can have a look. There's mine, it says love heart Kristie, and there's our toucan. That looks pretty cool. I'm pretty happy with that, and the white stayed nice and white. So I hope that you love your toucan. I bet if I saw it, I would love your toucan. actually, if you asked your human really nicely, please, my big human, would you send Kristie a picture? They can totally send me a picture. I love getting pictures of your artworks. You can, or they can hashtag it Art Class with Kristie, or they can send it through Instagram, or I was going to say Coco's Closet, Facebook. And until I see you again, happy creating, keep drawing, keep making. I'm going to keep drawing until I see you again. And the studio and I miss you. We'll see you soon. Thanks for joining me. Bye.